Bonsoir, bienvenue à la séance du conseil municipal du 26 janvier 2026. Good evening, welcome to the Town Council meeting of January 26, 2026. Premier point, ouverture de la séance.
Je propose d'ouvrir la séance.
Je le seconde.
Tous en faveur? All in favor?
Oui.
Oui.
La séance est donc ouverte à 20h01. Adoption de l'ordre du jour.
Je propose d'adopter l'ordre du jour de la séance ordinaire du 26 janvier 2026 tel que présenté.
Je le seconde.
Tous en faveur? All in favor?
Oui.
Adoption des procès-verbaux.
Monsieur le maire, je propose d'approuver les procès-verbaux des séances du conseil tenues aux dates suivantes. Séance ordinaire du 15 décembre 2025, séance spéciale du 22 janvier 2026.
Je l'appuie.
Tous en faveur? All in favor?
Oui.
Correspondance. Ministère des Transports et de la Mobilité durable, Programme d'aide financière du Fonds de la sécurité routière, PAFFSR. On January 12, 2026, the ministry notified the Director General that the town's grant application under the PAFFSR for reconfiguration project of the intersection of the level crossing at Westminster and Sherbrooke was denied. Report of the Mayor, rapport du maire. J'aimerais commencer par saluer la résilience des résidents du secteur nord de la ville, affectés par la panne de courant ayant débuté samedi matin et ayant duré une trentaine d'heures, durant le week-end le plus froid de l'hiver. Plus de 25 000 résidents de l'île de Montréal et de la région ont été privés d'électricité, en particulier ceux de Côte-Saint-Luc et Notre-Dame-de-Grâce. Selon Hydro-Québec, les pannes devaient être résolues samedi durant la journée, mais ce ne fut malheureusement pas le cas. En tout temps, la Ville de Montréal-Ouest est restée en contact avec ses partenaires et le Centre de coordination des mesures d'urgence de l'île de Montréal pour assurer la santé et la sécurité des résidents. Un centre d'hébergement géré par la Croix-Rouge a été offert aux résidents et nous avons patrouillé le secteur toute la nuit. Nous avons ouvert l'hôtel de ville et accueilli des résidents toute la journée de dimanche et offert un service de navette vers le centre d'hébergement. Le service d'incendie a de plus visité toutes les adresses sans courant dimanche pour s'assurer du bien-être de tous. Je remercie tous les résidents et commerçants qui ont offert leur aide aux personnes impactées, notamment Nati du Salon de Barbier 1923, de beaux gestes qui démontrent la solidarité de la communauté. Merci aussi à tous les employés ayant été impliqués durant la fin de semaine. Nous avons aussi, bien entendu, les commentaires de citoyens et prendrons acte pour améliorer nos communications avec les résidents durant ce type d'événement, revoir nos plans d'urgence avec nos partenaires et bien expliquer les procédures s'appliquant durant ces situations. Sur une note plus triste, nous avons appris en début de soirée hier, lors de vérifications de porte-à-porte dans un plan de sécurité civile, le décès de l'une de nos citoyennes. Je suis profondément attristé par cette nouvelle. Nos pensées vont à cette personne et nous offrons nos plus sincères condoléances à la famille. À l'heure actuelle, nous ignorons les circonstances du décès. Le coroner fera enquête. I would like to begin by commending the resilience of the residents of the town North End affected by the power outage that began Saturday morning and lasted approximately 30 hours during the coldest weekend of winter. More than 25,000 residents of the island of Montreal and the surrounding area were without power, especially those in Côte-Saint-Luc and Notre-Dame-de-Grâce. Hydro-Québec predicted that the outage would be resolved by the end of Saturday, but unfortunately, this was not the case. Throughout the day, the town of Montreal-West remained in contact with its partners and the Montreal Island Emergency Measures Coordination Center to ensure the health and safety of residents. A shelter run by the Red Cross was made available to residents, and we patrolled the area throughout the night. We opened City Hall and welcome residents an all-day Sunday and provide a shuttle service to the center. The fire department also visited all the addresses without power on Sunday to ensure everyone's well-being. I thank all the residents and businesses who offered their help to those affected, especially Natty from the 1923 barbershop. These kinds of gestures demonstrate the community's solidarity. Thank you also to the employees who were involved over the weekend. We have also listened carefully to the comments from residents and will take note of them to improve our communication with residents during these types of events, review our emergency plans with our partners, and clearly explain the procedures to follow in these situations. On a sadder note, we learned early yesterday evening during door-to-door checks as part of a civil security plan of the death of one of our citizens. I'm deeply saddened by this news. Our thoughts are with her, and we offer our sincere condolences to her family. At this time, the circumstances of her death are unknown. The coroner will conduct an investigation. Sur une note plus positive, et malgré des ennuis avec la glace qui nous force à repousser son utilisation de quelques jours, nous procédons graduellement à l'ouverture de notre centre sportif et récréatif. Montréal-Ouest est maintenant doté d'un équipement d'envergure dont nous pouvons tous être fiers. Cet édifice à l'architecture contemporaine, spacieuse et lumineuse est un investissement pour l'avenir de la communauté qui bénéficiera à l'ensemble des résidents. L'engagement et l'appui financier de la population auront été déterminants pour que ce projet devienne réalité. Je remercie chaleureusement tous les intervenants ayant contribué à la réalisation du projet, notamment l'ancien maire Benny Massala et le conseil, et le comité de sollicitation des dons, avec qui j'ai eu l'occasion de découvrir le centre en primeur. Davantage de détails suivront sur la programmation et l'ouverture du centre. On a more positive note, and despite some issues with the ice surface that have forced us to postpone its use for a few days, we are gradually opening our sports and recreation center. Montreal-West now boasts a major facility of which we can be proud. This contemporary, spacious, and bright building is an investment in the future of the community that will benefit all residents. The commitment and financial support of the community were crucial in making this project a reality. I warmly thank all those who contributed to this project, including former Mayor Benny Massala and the Council and the fundraising committee, with whom I had the opportunity to visit the center last week. More details on the programming and the center's opening will follow. La semaine dernière, le Conseil a adopté son budget 2026 et son programme triennal d'immobilisation. Ce premier budget, à l'écoute de la population, limite la hausse de taxes au minimum, favorise la résilience du territoire en investissant dans la reconstruction d'infrastructures routières, mise sur la mobilité durable par la sécurisation du passage à niveau, l'implantation de vélos en libre partage et la réparation de trottoirs, renouvelle la flotte de véhicules pour améliorer nos opérations courantes et amorce la réflexion sur la revitalisation de l'avenue Westminster. Il s'agit d'un budget responsable qui respecte nos capacités financières limitées tout en investissant pour l'avenir de notre communauté. Last week, the Council adopted its 2026 budget and three-year capital works expenditures. The first budget, which reflects the concern of its residents, keep tax increase to a minimum, promotes resilience by investing in road infrastructure reconstruction, focuses on sustainable mobility through improvement to the level crossing, the implementation of bike share program, and sidewalk repairs, renews the vehicle fleet to improve day-to-day operation, and initiates discussion on the revitalization of Westminster Avenue. It is a responsible budget that reflects our limited financial resources while investing in the future of our community. Dans le dernier mois, j'ai eu plusieurs rencontres politiques, celle avec la mairesse de l'arrondissement Côte-des-Neiges Notre-Dame-de-Grâce, Stéphanie Valenzuela, et David Torjman, maire de Côte-Saint-Luc. Ces discussions ont permis d'aborder divers sujets qui ont été soulevés par plusieurs citoyens, dont les enjeux de trafic et de sécurité de l'avenue Westminster, les enjeux de vitesse sur l'avenue Westover, l'extension du boulevard Cavendish, la fréquence de la ligne d'autobus 162, des connexions éventuelles avec les réseaux cyclables locaux, l'implantation de stations Bixi devant la gare de train et la réouverture de la réflexion sur la connexion de l'avenue West Broadway au-delà des voies ferrées. In the past month, I've had several political meetings, those with the mayor of Côte-des-Neiges Notre-Dame-de-Grâce Borough, Stéphanie Valenzuela, and David Torjman, mayor of Côte-Saint-Luc, allowed us to address various issues that have been raised by several citizens, including traffic and safety issues on Westminster Avenue, speeding issues on Westover Avenue, the extension of Cavendish Boulevard, the frequency of bus line 162, possible connection with local cycling networks, the implementation of Bixi Station in front of the train station, and the reopening of the discussion on the connection of West Broadway Avenue beyond the railway tracks. D'autres rencontres avec Désiré McGraw, député de l'Assemblée nationale, et Anna Gainey, députée de la Chambre des communes de NDG Westmount, ont permis d'amorcer des discussions sur l'état des infrastructures, la revitalisation de l'avenue Westminster, l'adaptation au changement climatique, la densification de la ville par la reconstruction, la construction de logements et les programmes de subvention pour nous aider dans ces projets. Une rencontre avec EXO a permis de rappeler l'importance de finaliser les travaux de la clôture le long du quai sud, le quai numéro 1, et de mettre à jour la signalétique, en plus d'ouvrir la rampe d'accessibilité universelle entre le quai 3 et la rue Sherbrooke. Une rencontre avec PME Montréal a également permis l'amorce d'un accompagnement et d'un financement pour redynamiser l'avenue Westminster. J'ai enfin été invité à participer virtuellement à une discussion internationale sur la démocratie et la gouvernance de proximité par la Cité du Design de Saint-Étienne en France. So further meetings with Desiree McGraw, member M&A of the National Assembly, and Anna Gainey, member of Parliament of NDG Westmount, initiated discussion on the state of our infrastructure, the revitalization of Westminster Avenue, adaptation to climate change, urban densification through housing construction, and grant programs to support these projects. A meeting with EXO reiterated the importance of completing the work on the south fence along Platform 1, updating signage, and opening the universal accessibility ramp between Platform 3 and Sherbrooke Street. A meeting with PMM Montreal also led to the initiation of support and funding for the revitalization of Westminster Avenue. Finally, I was invited to participate virtually in an international discussion on democracy and local governance by the Cité du Design de Saint-Étienne en France. Le nouveau conseil encourage la participation citoyenne et annonce la mise en place de plusieurs canaux d'échange pour favoriser l'inclusivité des voix citoyennes. Voici les principaux dispositifs participatifs permettant aux citoyens et aux élus de se rencontrer et de construire collectivement une meilleure communauté. The new council encourages citizen participation and announces the implementation of several channels for dialogue to promote inclusive citizen voices. Here are the main participatory mechanisms that allow citizens and elected officials to meet and collectively build a better community. Les conseils municipaux. Les lundis soirs, une fois par mois à l'Hôtel de Ville, nous accueillons, comme ce soir, dans un cadre formel, les questions des citoyens en personne ou en ligne, en privilégiant les questions liées au sujet à l'ordre du jour du Conseil et aux questions d'intérêt général. Municipal Council. On Mondays evening, once a month at the Town Hall, we welcome citizens' questions in a formal setting, whether in person or online, giving priority to questions related to the Council agenda, items, and matters of general interest. Échange avec le Conseil. Une nouveauté, à une fréquence d'environ une fois par mois, nous proposons un dialogue informel avec plusieurs membres du Conseil municipal dans un lieu public de la Ville. Nous accueillerons les questions des citoyens en personne sur des sujets personnels qui vous préoccupent. Ces échanges auront lieu en alternance les mercredis matins, mercredis soirs et samedis matins dans divers secteurs de la Ville selon un calendrier qui sera rendu public. Exchange with the Council. Approximately once a month, we will offer an informal dialogue with several members of the Town Council in public space within the town. We will welcome citizen questions in person on personal matters of concern. These exchanges will take place on alternate Wednesday morning, Wednesday evening, and Saturday mornings in various parts of the town according to a schedule that will be made public. Comités spécialisés. Des comités citoyens sur des sujets stratégiques seront créés pour contribuer à l'atteinte des priorités de la Ville. Les citoyens pourront poser leur candidature et siéger ensemble de 4 à 10 fois par année pour émettre collectivement des recommandations au Conseil. Les comités seront présidés par un élu. Specialized committees. Citizens' committees on strategic topics will be created to contribute to achieving the town's priorities. Citizens will be able to apply and meet together 4 to 10 times a year to collectively make recommendations to council. The committees will be chaired by an elected official. Soirées d'information. À l'occasion, des soirées d'information seront organisées pour informer les citoyens des enjeux locaux, des procédures ou des projets de développement en début de processus. Elles permettront aux citoyens de poser des questions à la Ville et à la Ville de fournir des renseignements et des explications sur le sujet à l'ordre du jour. Information sessions. Occasionally, information sessions will be organized to inform citizens about local issues, procedures, or development projects in the early stage of the process. These sessions will allow citizens to ask questions and the town to provide information and explanation on the topic at hand. Groupe de discussion. À l'occasion et sur invitation, un groupe de discussion se réunira afin d'obtenir des opinions, les idées et les besoins d'un public cible sur un sujet spécifique. Focus groups. On occasion and by invitation, a group of people will meet to obtain the opinions, ideas and needs of a target audience on a specific topic. Sondage d'opinion. À l'occasion, un sondage d'opinion permettra de recueillir des avis de la population sur des sujets ou des projets spécifiques. Opinion polls, occasionally, an opinion poll will be used to gather public opinion on specific topics or projects. Consultation publique. lors de modifications au plan d'urbanisme et à sa réglementation, tels des changements d'usage, lors de projets de développement ou de réalisation de documents stratégiques, des activités de consultation publique ouvertes à toute la population seront organisées afin de recueillir vos intrants, idées, besoins et désirs pour enrichir la réflexion collective et construire collectivement la vision territoriale. Public consultation. When there are changes to the urban plan and its regulation, such as changes of use during development projects or the creation of strategic documents, public consultation activities open to the entire population will be organized to gather your input, ideas, needs, and desire to enrich collective thinking and collectively build the territorial vision. La description des comités sera présentée au prochain conseil municipal du 23 février. Les citoyens intéressés pourront manifester leur intérêt entre le 24 février et le 20 mars. La composition des comités sera adoptée au conseil municipal du 30 mars et les travaux pourront débuter dès le début avril. The committee descriptions will be presented at the next town council meeting on February 23rd. Citizens can express their interests between February 24th and March 20. The composition of the committees will be adopted at the town council meeting on March 30th, and their work can begin in early April. Ceci conclut mon rapport du mois de janvier. This concludes my report for January. Sorry if that was a bit long. Now, councillor reports. We'll start by seat number 3, Councillor Nick Tassé.
Yes, thank you. Since our last council meeting, I've been spending time getting deeper into my portfolios of asset management, more commonly known as public works, as well as the economic development portfolio, more specifically as they relate to the 2026 budget and the services residents rely on every day. Du côté des travaux publics, le budget présenté plus tôt ce mois-ci comprend des investissements importants dans la flotte municipale, axés sur le remplacement de l'équipement existant. Ces remplacements planifiés permettent de renouveler des véhicules et des équipements vieillissants afin d'assurer des services sécuritaires et efficaces, particulièrement durant des périodes de forte demande comme les opérations hivernales. From an asset management perspective, the 3-year capital program also provides a longer-term view, with planned fleet and equipment replacements extending into 2027 and 2028. This approach allows the town to anticipate needs, manage costs more responsibly, and avoid higher expenses and service disruptions that occur when equipment reaches the end of its useful lifespan unexpectedly. Les opérations hivernales ont également été un sujet de discussion fréquent. Le déneigement est une opération complexe et exigeante en ressources, dont les coûts quotidiens peuvent atteindre des dizaines de milliers de dollars, selon les conditions. Comprendre ces coûts est essentiel lorsqu'on évalue les niveaux de service et les décisions opérationnelles. This winter, the number of smaller snowfalls has at times created a perception of inaction, when in fact operations have been following established practices designed to balance safety and cost. Snow is typically blown and hauled only once sufficient accumulation has occurred to trigger a full snow clearing operation, helping to avoid unnecessary expenses while keeping operations efficient. The threshold is typically 20 to 30 centimeters. En parallèle, les travaux publics doivent parfois prioriser d'autres interventions urgentes, comme les réparations de bris de conduite d'eau, qui mobilisent du personnel et des ressources autrement affectées au déneigement. Il est aussi important de rappeler que les opérateurs de machinerie lourde sont soumis à des limites strictes quant au nombre d'heures de travail quotidiennes et hebdomadaires. Des surchargés avant une tempête majeure peuvent entraîner des périodes de repos obligatoires, retardant ainsi les opérations lorsque celles-ci sont plus nécessaires. One issue that has been raised multiple times by residents relates to snow accumulation at certain crosswalks. At present, crosswalks are not typically cleared as part of a standard snow removal operation, as plowing naturally pushes the snow towards the edges of the roadways. Dans certains secteurs, notamment près des garderies ou dans des zones à forte circulation piétonnière, cette accumulation peut poser des défis pour des piétons, en particulier les parents avec des poussettes ou de jeunes enfants. Toute modification plus large des pratiques actuelles nécessiterait un déneigement manuel, ce qui est exigeant en ressources et difficilement applicable à l'ensemble des passages piétons. That being said, I've begun discussions with town management to explore whether targeted measures could be considered in certain priority areas during major snow events, and those are à suivre, as they say. Sur le plan du développement économique, j'ai rencontré PME Montréal, qui a présenté différents programmes visant à soutenir les entreprises locales et à renforcer les artères commerciales principales dans plusieurs municipalités de l'île. Ces programmes offrent des outils intéressants pour appuyer la vitalité économique et améliorer le cadre urbain de nos secteurs commerciaux. In addition, I've begun speaking with residents and business owners about forming an economic development committee with a particular focus on the improvement and revitalization of Westminster. I would like to invite any business owners, residents, or property owners who are interested in participating in these discussions to reach out to me so we can begin organizing in a more structured way. J'ai également amorcé des démarches pour raviver l'association des commerçants dont l'objectif de lui redonner un rôle actif comme espace de collaboration et représentation. Ce travail s'inscrit naturellement dans les discussions entourant un éventuel retour de la foire de rue qui avait connu un grand succès lors de sa dernière édition en 2019. Across both portfolios, my focus remains on listening, understanding operational realities, and working collaboratively with staff, businesses, and residents. I look forward to continuing this work and providing further updates as these discussions and initiatives move forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Tassé. Now reporting from seat 4, siège numéro 4, conseiller, Councillor Philippe Bergeron.
Bonjour, chers voisins et résidents de Montréal-Ouest. The last 40 hours have been challenging for the residents of the north sector of Montreal-West, which includes myself. The Hydro-Quebec power outage that affected parts of Montreal-West, Côte-Saint-Luc, and NDG Côte-des-Neiges was not what anyone wanted to experience on the coldest day of 2026. During this challenge, the town was following plans and protocols provided by the Centre de Coordination des Mesures d'Urgence, aka the CCMU, from the agglomeration of Montreal. An overnight shelter was open for residents in Côte-des-Neiges, albeit not next door to Montreal-West. Shuttles were provided for transportation for any residents that needed it from the Côte-Saint-Luc Aquatic Center, our closest transit point to the overnight shelter. In the evening of Saturday, January 24th, realizing that Hydro-Quebec was continuously delaying or pushing further in time any updates for the return of electricity, Council decided to open Town Hall as a refuge to residents for warmth and electricity during the day of Sunday, January 25th, from 7:30 a.m. till 10 p.m. About 20 residents used this shelter, coming and going, including myself. During this period, our PSOs, public safety officers, were extremely busy, patrolling all day and evening, especially focused on the north sector, making sure that people were safe. Une opération de porte-à-porte a été démarrée par le Service de sécurité et d'incendie de Montréal, le CIM, ou nos pompiers, en coopération avec le SPVM, nos policiers, dimanche le 25 janvier, en après-midi, dans les secteurs touchés. Environ 80 pompiers ont été déployés pour cette campagne. Le courant a finalement été rétabli chez nous, les habitants de Montréal-Ouest, dans le secteur nord, dimanche soir, après une coupure qui a duré environ 30 heures dans le pire des cas. We will review the actions taken during this crisis, list our strengths and weaknesses, enumerate lessons learned, and modify our actions plans as needed for future situations like these. Je tiens également à remercier nos employés clés, nos commerçants et les nombreux résidents pour leur travail, leur soutien, leur générosité dont ils ont fait preuve. C'est ce qui rend notre communauté si spéciale. Merci. That being said, we need to be mindful that extreme weather is happening more and more often. We all need to be ready and be prepared. Battery packs, flashlights, or other sources of lights, knowing where and having accessible or water shut-off valve, reaching out to family, friends, and neighbors for help or to offer help. I noticed that many of you were already prepared. Bravo. En ce qui concerne les sports et le nouveau centre récréatif, la Ville a organisé son premier événement le vendredi soir 23 janvier. Il s'agissait d'une visite du nouveau centre récréatif avec patinage libre, chocolat chaud et gâterie pour tous les résidents du quartier riverain du nouveau centre, qui ont enduré 2 années de construction et toutes ses conséquences négatives. L'événement a été un succès avec la participation d'environ 100 personnes. During our current soft opening, the rec center, we were all excited for the arena programming to start tonight, January 26th, with the CRA's first inaugural game. But unfortunately, during the evening of Friday, January 24th, our new rec center had a mechanical failure which affected the rink, more specifically, the quality of the ice. Staff worked all weekend to salvage the ice, but it was determined that a new ice sheet will be necessary, which takes 4 days approximately. All programming are canceled, and we hope to resume as quickly as possible. The failure is covered under the warranty. All repairs, time and material are free of charge to the town, so don't worry. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Phil Bergeron. Reporting from seat 4, now reporting from seat 1, Councillor Lawrence Small, Benefather.
Okay, merci, Monsieur le Maire. Welcome, everybody, this evening. I also wanted to give a mention or a note to our residents of Montréal-Ouest who overcame a very difficult situation. And as Phil and the Mayor has said, if there are areas that we can improve, we will certainly do that. I'm wearing my military hat for a second. We do an after-action review in terms of how the event unfolded in ways in which that we can prepare better in the future. But as you know, more of these events are coming, but I do want to send my appreciation, of course, to all the town who stepped up to help our residents, and that's something that's so very special in the town of Montréal-Ouest. If some of you were here for budget, I see a couple of people that were here last week. I know that the presentation did cut out, so I'm just going to give a few highlights, again, just so in case people didn't get all the information. Donc, le 22 janvier, j'ai présenté le budget pour 2026 et le programme d'investissement triennial qui permettront à la Ville de poursuivre sur la voie de succès. Conformément à la loi, il s'agit d'un budget équilibré assorti d'une surveillance financière rigoureuse. On January 22nd, I presented the budget for 2026 and the 3-year capital program, which will continue to set the town up for success. As legally mandated, this is a balanced budget with sound fiscal oversight and rigor. The objectives were to diversify our revenue sources, support our strategic goals, increase the overall tax base, and monitor the availability of grants. Highlights include an increase of 9.77% in expenses and revenues from $21,441,090 in 2025 to $23,535,231 in 2026. Our quote par aglo et CCM has gone down from 36.74% to 34.24% due to the limited fiscal potential for commercial revenues. Les dépenses locales spécifiques de la Ville ont augmenté de 63,26% à 65,76% entre 2025 et 2026. Les salaires de l'administration, y compris ceux du directeur général du conseil municipal et du greffier municipal, ainsi ceux que de notre flotte de travaux publics a augmenté. Les droits de transfert, taxes d'accueil, ont augmenté de 13,78%, une augmentation de 171,66% générée par le nouveau centre de loisirs est prévue pour le compenser de ces dépenses. I'll say it in English as well because it's a lot of numbers. I just want to make sure people are getting the good, clear information. Local expenses specific to the town increased from 2025 from 63.26% to 65.76%. An increase of salaries to administration, recreation center, including DG, council, town clerk, and to our public works fleet has increased. An increase on duties on transfer, which we know is welcome taxes, has increased by 13.78%. And a projection of 171% increase generated by the new recreation center to offset these expenses. The new roll has been deposited and will be received with your tax invoice. The average valuation has increased from $1,034,566 to $1,130,447 for the average home. The tax rate per 100 of property evaluation, or the mill rate, as people know, has decreased to 0.9611, with the average tax bill at $10,701, up 2.15%, from $10,476 in 2025, or $225. Again, that's for the average house, which means you might be under or you might be over, depending on what the valuation of your home is. We achieve this through the objectives of the town's strategic financial plan. As per the PTI, we will continue to make investments to critical infrastructure and servicing our debt. Vous devriez recevoir votre avis d'imposition cette semaine. Le premier versement est dû le 26 février et le deuxième le 27 mai. You should receive your tax bill this week with the first installment due on February 26th and the second installment on May the 27th. If you have any questions about our finances or our bilingual status, I would be happy to answer them. Thank you. Merci.
Thank you very much, Councillor Small-Pennefather. Now reporting from C2, Councillor Marta Slocum.
It's nice to see everyone here this evening. Merci d'être sorti malgré le froid et la neige. My thoughts are with everyone impacted by the weekend's power outage, and especially with the family of the resident who passed away. As we face more frequent extreme weather, strengthening our community's resilience will serve as a central part of our strategic planning. I attended my first PAC meeting as an observer last week. It was a helpful opportunity to meet members, understand the process, and start thinking about where council can add clarity and momentum. Je me suis penchée sur nos règlements administratifs et j'ai très hâte de commencer une fois que je serai nommée ce soir à titre de représentante du conseil au sein du CCU. I'm also very pleased to be taking on the role of personne responsable des questions familiales for Montréal-Ouest. In this role, my focus will be on turning our community's vision for families into clear priorities and coordinated action. Cela inclut les aînés et MADA, mais aussi de manière plus générale la façon dont nous réfléchissons à la politique et aux programmes familiaux dans toute la ville. Je voulais également partager une brève mise à jour concernant le centre communautaire John A. Sims. As most people know, our recreation team is getting ready for the opening of the new recreation center. As part of that transition, their offices and activities will be moving to the new space in the coming months, which will eventually leave the John A. Sims building vacant. We know there's a lot of interest in what might come next for that space, and we can confirm that the building is currently under review. We'll be sure to keep residents informed as we move forward. Looking ahead at our next council meeting, as our mayor said, we'll be announcing the dates for our upcoming monthly discussions with the council events, with the first one planned for March. Celles-ci seront annoncées 3 mois à la fois et conçues pour faciliter aux résidents la possibilité de soulever des enjeux tôt, de poser des questions et d'avoir des conversations plus directes avec le conseil en dehors de la structure formelle des réunions. The dates, which will alternate between Wednesday mornings, Wednesday evenings, and Saturday mornings, will be shared through our communication tools. I just want to thank residents for their continued engagement and for being here this evening. I'm really looking forward to working together and to the conversations ahead as we continue building our community. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Slocum. Nous sommes maintenant rendus au point 8 de l'ordre du jour, first public question period. At our first question period, we will answer questions from the floor for a maximum of 25 minutes. We will limit it to 2 questions per person, a short preamble, your first question, and a follow-up question if you want. I remind you that this is a question period and not a debate period. After the questions from the floor, we will answer questions from residents that have been submitted online until 2 p.m. today on any topic. The same rules apply, 25 minutes total and 2 questions per person maximum. In the second question period, we will take questions pertaining to the agenda submitted via our website during this meeting. We will limit it to 10 minutes from the floor and 10 minutes for online. Lors de notre première période de questions, nous répondrons aux questions de la salle pendant un maximum de 25 minutes. Nous limiterons à 2 questions par personne, un court préambule, votre première question et une question de suivi si vous le souhaitez. Je vous rappelle que ceci est une période de questions et non une période de débat. Après les questions de la salle, nous répondrons aux questions des résidents qui avaient été soumises en ligne jusqu'à 14 heures aujourd'hui sur n'importe quel sujet. Les mêmes règles s'appliquent, 25 minutes au total, 2 questions par personne maximum. Lors de la deuxième période de questions, nous répondrons aux questions relatives à l'ordre du jour soumises via notre site web lors de cette réunion. Nous le limiterons à 10 minutes depuis la salle et 10 minutes pour la version en ligne. So the first question is from Jennifer Melnick, 140 Ballantine South. Pardon? Oh, sorry. Yeah, pardon. Donc, question en ligne, question en personne. Pardon. Can you go to the mic, please? Yes.
Hi, Elan Rose, 22 Garden. So, I'll try to make. I have a new second question. The first question is: so I live on Garden, which is north of the hump, and affected by the the power outage. Lots to learn, but I don't think communication is something we should be learning now. We should have been able to communicate. There should have been a lot more communication about what was going on, statuses. Whether Hydro tells you the right information or not, that's Hydro's problem. I think we all understand that. But I really felt I got more information from David Torgman's Côte Saint-Luc site than I did from my own town. So to learn, if you want to learn from how to do things, I would suggest looking at the Côte Saint-Luc Facebook page and the amount of information that they sent out. It was every 2-3 hours, updates, reassurance. People don't read all their information. There was one, I think, when I saw one email that someone on Facebook told me about that I didn't even realize, because I get a lot of emails, and I don't look at emails when I'm in a power failure necessarily. So that's just kind of a suggestion that I think communication should not be one of those things that we need to learn. That's our job as citizens and as council. So my real question, because the report was very, very long and very quick. I didn't understand everything, not because of language, just it was information. You mentioned something about either going to France or a project in France, kind of very, very quick. So I don't know if maybe you want to I would like for you to expand on that. Did you go to France? Did our town pay for it?
No.
Is there benefits for the town, et cetera? I just didn't understand what it was. And I'm also wondering, maybe it'd be nice that if you could share your reports with us in advance. I don't know if it's allowed, but that way we can read it while you're reading it, because it's very, very quick. Especially yours was long, so it was hard to follow.
Yes, we're sorry we're speaking a bit fast because we have so much information to share. Most of the information that we are saying in our report are published in the Informer in the upcoming issue. So you will find all this information. As for the last thing that I mentioned, I was invited to participate in the international online conference, so there was no fee. I did this at 8 o'clock on a Saturday morning. So on my time, there was no expense there. It was just an opportunity. I was invited to talk about governance, about proximity governance, about democracy, and we were comparing different realities, and the mayor of Outremont was invited also. So we were talking to people around the world, but we were talking about Montreal realities, and we were exchanging and doing comparison between Montreal-Ouest and Outremont. So which is interesting. But yeah, absolutely no fees for the town. Thank you for your comments also.
Hi, thank you very much. It's Mike Ely, 62 Ronald. I completely understand if you've been watching on the news, residents, that the power outage, it's kind of like a situation where we had horrible weather combined with an equipment failure at, I believe it's called the Hampton Distribution Center or something like that. The idea is that this distribution center will not be repaired for at least 5 more years. So I think the idea that it's not a matter of if, it's when this will break down again. Does the town sort of have a situation where our town hall could become a place to gather? Do we have a generator? Was there a reason we couldn't do it ourselves? We're a small town that likes to kind of take care of each other. But I guess what I was reading and feeling, and I was lucky to have power, was that the idea that the closest place was in Côte des Neiges made it difficult. So I guess the first question is, could this become a place? Was there a plan in the previous administration, or being new, a lot of you, to the job, was there nothing really that was already set in stone that could be turned to a binder that you open up in the case of an emergency type thing?
Well, go ahead.
Good question, Mr. Ely. There is a plan. There's a protocol, and we follow it with the CCMU, the Centre, something new that I've learned this weekend. But the acronym is
Centre de coordination des mesures d'urgence.
Centre de coordination des mesures d'urgence. So with any situation, there's a lot of variables. So it comes from top down. And they explain to us what they're going to be doing. They also have the expertise. They're managed with the Red Cross. They have the beds. They have the resources. They have the people. So but when it comes to, we open our own shelter, a warming shelter for the next day, but we weren't prepared or managed to have an overnight shelter. If any situation demands us to have an overnight shelter, we're open for it. It would help also if the rec center was ready, but the town hall does have a generator. We did lose power here for an hour, the sector, but the town hall did not. The lights flickered. We heard the UPSs, the batteries, but the heat was still on, the lights were on, so I was here for those 5 hours.
No, I appreciate that. I think it's the idea that, like I say, it was a bad combination of events,
Yes.
but if, God forbid, something happens, it's not out of the question. It's not like because of blue-collar workers and contracts.
so
I
absolutely,
think I just want to relay that to the citizens, that it's not an impossibility. It's just the nature of the situation didn't allow it to work out that way, which I
Correct.
understand.
That's right.
Yes, and if I can just complete, absolutely right. We're also with the CCMU. This is part of the money that we send to the agglomeration. So they are the one in charge. They have all the expertise, and we are following their protocol. There have been some lack of communication with them, and we're going to meet them to see what can be improved. But just to understand that there was only one shelter for Côte-des-Neiges, NDG, Côte-Saint-Luc, and Montréal-Ouest. So there were all the towns and the mayor were all saying to people to go to that only shelter, and there were only 43 people who went there. So there were still lots of place available. Also had a discussion with Desiree McGrath earlier today, our M&A, about the Amstead substation, thank you. And she's going to address this to the government of Quebec because it's at her level, because we cannot wait 5, 10, 15 years, to do reparation, because there's still people who don't have electricity in Côte-Saint-Luc. Our school for many of our residents was closed today, might be closed tomorrow also.
It will be closed tomorrow.
So, it has a huge impact, and this is something outside of our territory. So that we need to continue to talk with our partners to make sure that we are ready to face this in the future.
Thank you. The second question, I think it's Ms. Small-Penfather. I could be wrong. I was at the budget presentation last week. Thank you very much. There was something that came up after the fact, but it may not have been in there. I'm not sure. It was the Avon-Milton-Ronald interchange. I don't know if that rings any bells, but I picked up on something that there would be money or plans put towards that. We know about Courtney, which I think there's something coming up, and that sort of connection. Completely get all that. But there was something about Milton. It's basically where Saint Jacques, aka Avon, intersects.
So
with.
there is a study that we're undertaking to study that area in terms of small D, what I call it, like some potential development there. So yes, there's studies that we're undertaking in that area.
And I guess being as much as I can representing the south side, is that with regards to traffic or with regards to development of buildings and industrial? That's the idea, I guess.
The first step is about traffic. It's about the intersection. It's about seeing if we can redesign the layout of the street. That's the first part of that's why it's in the budget. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Louise Chenevert, 61 Northview. Just to follow up on this gentleman over here. The substation is Hampstead, not Hampton, Hampstead. Okay, there are 3. It's part of the réseau, modernisation du réseau aqueduc-Saragay, which goes through our territory. It's not outside our territory, it's actually in our territory. And there's 3 substations that are going to be redone, which is Lachine, Rockfield, Hampstead, and Ville-Saint-Laurent. And it's 18 kilometers long, the whole project from Saragay Aqueduc. And I heard on the radio today, Hampstead is going to be renovated in 2026 now, and it's going to take 3 years. It'll be complete in 2029, sorry. So 2026 to 2029 is going to take 3 years to go from what we have now, 120 to 120 to 315 kilovolts. So it's in the same information I have, but yeah, so they're going to start with Hampstead because the project's supposed to start in 2031. They're starting with Hampstead this year. So it's part of our whole upgrade system, which feeds NDG, Côte St. Luc, everything. So just for your information, it's not going to take 5 years, it's going to take 3, and it's starting this year. So good news, bad news, whatever. It is what it is.
Okay. Well, hopefully, I mean, they respect that schedule. We'll see. Thank you.
But I can't, it's going to take 3 years, but I know, like, I wasn't sure if they're going to go from north to south or south to north. The engineers weren't sure if they're going to plan it, but now they're going to do Hampstead first. So it's right in the middle of the whole circuit, so.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Karen Donnelly, 195 Wolseley. I'm not sure with the new portfolios who is in charge of the environment. It was a little bit clearer previously.
Marta Slocum.
Okay, so Martha. So I have a question regarding the environment. Last year I was extremely happy that the council finally passed the rule to ban wood-burning fireplaces and wood stoves, unless they're extremely strict. Of course, this law will not take effect until September 2026. So it's only going to take effect in the next year's heating season. So we have, of course, I guess 3 months or so of heating season to go on. And I'm wondering if the town could use an information either on their website or possibly both on their website or using the communique in the Informer to help people, A, understand why it's happening. It will help them be ready for next year, but also maybe it will help them understand why you need to do this, and they may start to voluntarily reduce because it makes a huge difference in air quality. Wood burning is the biggest one way that you get smoke particles in the air in Quebec, causing asthma, heart disease, and all sorts of things. So I think a lot of people don't realize that, oh, it's just my fireplace, and you don't actually smell it because you've got glass and it goes up the other end. So I'm just wondering if you would have an information campaign to let people know that really this is really bad for the air pollution, even though it's actually legal until next September.
The answer is quite simple. Yes, that is something that I absolutely want to do.
Okay, that's wonderful. Thank you very much. I know that other municipalities have had them, so if you feel like contacting me, I did a little research over the past year or two. So that's very good to know. Thanks a lot.
That would be much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hi, Cynthia Nichols, 25 Westminster South. I'd like to know a little bit more about the lady who passed away. I'm shocked that you were talking about fireplaces, and I'm hoping to God that this woman did not have a fireplace that she thought she couldn't use.
Well, at the moment, people can still use their fireplace.
Any information
So.
that you can give us about what happened?
Right now, it's under investigation. So
It's still under investigation.
Yes. Yes.
Do we know what street she was on?
Hudson Avenue.
On Hudson itself. Okay. Now, I've been here for about 30 years. We used to have Girl Guides, we used to have Scouts, we used to have various different people that would go around speaking to communities. I know there was a bylaw that was passed saying no knocking on doors, but I would like to see the town either give permission to various different groups to get back into that familiarity where people feel comfortable calling others up, where that community spirit is still alive. I'm a little concerned that there's a woman in Montreal-West that passed away from the cold when we used to have phone trees. I don't know about, we used to have that. Everybody knew, even if they didn't like the person on the street, you still contacted them. I would like to see us go back to that kind of a environment again, if that's possible. There's that, and here's my taxes for my check.
Okay.
Because it's due tomorrow, and I really don't feel like coming back tomorrow. So can I give it to you, that I'm treasurer?
She's not the treasurer; she's the general manager. But yes, but thanks for your comment, Mrs. Nicole.
And Ms. Nichols, there will be a coroner's report, and when that coroner's report comes out, it will be made public, so you would be able to see in terms of what the circumstances were.
That just gets into the red tape and the bureaucracy and everything else. I'm talking about Montreal-Ouest, our smaller
understood.
community, where we knew everyone. I used to know everyone on the street, right from here all the way up. We've had a lot of changes and everything, which is fine. But I would still love to be able to not just meet people in private members' parties, but to actually have that community spirit again. And another thing I wanted to mention as well. Do you remember during I've got a voice. During the summer when we had the canicules or whatever they're called,
The heat wave.
Now we had a program in place where the town hall was open and everything. Perhaps we can start following those requirements and let the alphabetical digital number corporation that works for the government know what our plans are for a change. That's all I'm saying.
Sorry, my second question. The library is in a commercial building on Westminster. There are plans to bring it to Sims, because you say the Sims is going to be vacant. Are they going to move into the old community center?
There's no plan for that.
Yeah, we're still evaluating the community center.
Sorry?
We're evaluating what will be the future use of what is most appropriate.
No, but the library would be a good fit, no? It's always been in that sort of street area.
We're actively looking into what will be the future use of it.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions from the room? No? Okay, so now we're going to move to online questions. So we'll start with Jennifer Melnick, 140 Ballantyne South.
Hello. So this is Jennifer Melnick, 149 Avenue, Ballantyne South. She says, hello. Like every winter, the power outage has got us thinking about installing a backup power system. Solar and battery system seems interesting versus gas generator. I haven't noticed many/any homes with solar panels visible on the roof. What are the chances of having a solar system approved by PAC? The sunny side of our home is facing the street. Thanks. So this issue would have to be accepted by PAC. No such project has ever been presented, so I can't really give an orientation on the thoughts on that. But as PAC is in charge of ensuring architectural integration, it would depend on how the project looked and how it was presented. And there are some zoning regulations, and I think it's probably more useful for me to actually just email them to you, Ms. Melnick, than to read them out here. And if anybody else is interested to know, you can absolutely send me an email and I'll let you know what they are.
Thank you. Second question from Domenica Pulcini, 24 Ronald Drive.
Okay, this is a question from multiple residents on Ronald. Good morning, Mayor Cha. We welcome you. The stairs from Promenade Ronald to Courtney have been closed for 2 years. At first, we were promised that they would be repaired in spring 2025, then advised for the spring of 26. Please ensure that the stairs will be repaired and usable by everyone. We have waited too long already. Unfortunately, the situation regarding the staircase has evolved since the discussions for replacing them got underway some time ago. And given the fact that there's significant infrastructure that runs underground parallel to the stairs that need replacing, they will have to be completely demolished in construction with the larger infrastructure project that is planned for Courtney this year. And unfortunately, that'll delay the replacement of the staircase. There will be an information session when we get closer to the start date of the project, and we welcome you to come and attend this meeting and voice your concerns and ask all the questions. Thank you.
And just a precision, this is planned on the 2027 budget.
Sorry.
Thank you. David Stewart, 55 Nelson Street.
Right. David Stewart says, the home at 53 Nelson Street is in a horrible state of disrepair. I'm concerned about the well-being of our neighbors who do not seem capable of maintaining their dwelling and I worry that the state of disrepair of their home will inevitably end up in a crisis situation. What progress has been made by the town in addressing this situation, and does this situation call for the appointment of a public curator? If, as seems obvious, the residents are incapable of taking action, then what is the timeline to a forced sale or mandated repairs to the residents? So the town has taken the steps that it can and has even taken legal action. So this needs to go through the legal channels. But in addition, we're in contact with the appropriate authorities to assist the owners as an additional measure.
Thank you. Question from Rachel Ritchie, 224 Westminster North.
Rachel writes, my question concerns residential parking permits. As Montreal-West continues to grow and invest in major projects like the new arena, we are clearly planning for increased population activity. At the same time, families living here are also evolving. Due to the current economic climate, many adult children are living at home longer while attending school or working, which often means additional vehicles per household. When Mayor Jonathan Shaw came to my home during the campaign, I raised this concern with him, and he indicated he would look into it. I appreciate that commitment, and I'm following on it here tonight. Given this reality, is the town considering increasing or adding flexibility to the current 2-permit limit so families are not penalized for circumstances largely driven by today's economy? Well, the answer to that is we are planning on reviewing the strategic planning regarding the parking throughout the town within 2026. This issue will be raised during the review process. We just haven't got there yet.
Thank you. The next question is from Kate Shingler, 207 Bedbrook Avenue.
Mrs. Shingler writes, what happened to the outdoor rink program in Montreal-West this winter? Despite sustained cold weather and in contrast to neighboring communities such as NDG and Côte-Saint-Luc, no outdoor rinks were made available for residents this year. Could council explain the reasons for this and whether changes are planned for the future? Well, the outdoor rinks were slow to start this year. We apologize for this. It's a balance between managing the necessary equipment, water attribution, and limited staff. The number of rinks since the pandemic doubled, and while losing the Legion indoor rink during the construction, the number of rinks was kept at the same number. The town hasn't adjusted to the increased resources needed to keep up for the demand. The rinks were ready January 12th, then unfortunately there was inclement weather, and then since January 18th, the rinks are all up and running, with apparently considered in good condition. We will be reviewing the outdoor rink plan for the next winter, also during the 2026.
Thank you. The next question from Michael Ely, 62 Ronald Drive.
Mr. Ely asks, can the residents of Ronald get any updates on the demolition and building status of the U-Haul building? At the consultation, we asked that consideration be given to the location of the HVAC and noise that will be created from the proposed design we were shown. And his second question is, can residents of Ronald get any updates on the permit and renovation status of the apartment complex at 49 Ronald? There have been improvements with snow clearing and the garbage recycling issues, but 3 large windows remain boarded up and people are living in at least one of these unpermitted illegal units. So the answer to the first question is that the file is still ongoing, but it's still at the PAC. At this time, we do not have a final project and we have not issued any permit. In response to the second question, the construction permit was granted and the work is ongoing, so it is normal that there's incomplete work while they're waiting for the new windows. It should be mentioned there's not an unpermitted illegal unit because these did go to the PAC and were approved, the renovations that are ongoing. We've already done some follow-up inspections, and so the file is considered in order, and as long as the work continues in compliance with the permit that was issued, and that inspection will be completed later. I have driven by this property a few times since the last council meeting, and I'm happy to say that it does look like the garbage situation and the snow clearing has improved, as Mr. Ely observed.
Thank you very much. The next question is from David Smokot, 257, Promenade Sheraton.
Okay, so Mr. Smoka writes, hello, I'm bringing this question forward again after not getting any answer so far. After snow falls, we all work hard to clear up the exits from our driveways to the street, only to find that immediately after, the city plow clearing the streets puts the snow pile right back where we cleared it from. I submitted this solution, adopted in Toronto, which is not hard at all to implement, if only a bit of willingness is shown. It's a very small effort from the city, but with big results for the residents. Thank you for your inquiry, Mr. Smokot. I'd just like to point out that Mr. Smokot linked some Instagram, YouTube videos of the equipment in question. Essentially, it's a loader with an attachment that's hydraulically operated and extends the length of the shovel so that it could reach further to the side of the road. I've spoken to the Director of Public Works, and he provided me with some insights on this particular piece of equipment. First and foremost, this piece of equipment would not work in Montreal-West given the size of most of our roads unless we were to completely restrict parking on the streets during snowstorms. So that would be no parking on any side of the street at all during snowfalls. Also, the amount of time it would take for this type of equipment to pass once through the entire network of our town, with the shovel extension being manually operated, to go up and down for every single driveway would easily take 3 to 4 times the amount of time a regular plow would take. Given that it would have to do each side of the street twice because the driveway on each side would be in a different position. Given the added cost and inconvenience to residential parking, I unfortunately don't see this equipment being used in our town for the foreseeable future.
Thank you. The next question is from Paul Kenton, 70 Brocknord.
Mr. Kenton asks 2 questions related to budget. Question 1 is severance pay for the outgoing councillors and mayor was mentioned in the recent budget presentation. How much did each receive? And question 2 was how much money has been spent to date on the new rec center? What is the balance of the contracts, including holdbacks, and any additional money to settle the Sajo lawsuit against the town? I'll just pull up this. Mr. Kenton, for your first question, it's a global amount of about $50,000 that was between the mayor and the 3 councillors. And for Q2, how much money has been spent to date on the new rec center is $34.1 million. The balance of contracts, including holdbacks, is $4 million. This all is within our contingency, Mr. Kenton. And any additional money to settle the Sajo lawsuit against the town, we're not really able to disclose that because it's a settlement and it's currently under, there's legal action currently being taken. I just also wanted to be more precise in that the Q2 numbers for the construction of the center are still estimations because we only received the reports as of the 31st of October 2025. So these are still estimates and they're not final numbers yet. So please keep that in mind, and thank you for your question, Mr. Kenton.
Thank you. Next question is from Sharon McCary, 166 Northview.
Ms. McCary writes, with the Community and Recreation Center now open, when will the council review the options for the use of the John Sim building, and when will the citizens be consulted on the options shortlisted? Thank you. So the community center is currently still being used, and it will continue to be used for a while during the transition to the new recreation center. And again, the building is under review as part of a broader assessment of town-owned assets.
Thank you. Next question, Catherine Sherrard, 45 Stratton Avenue North.
Mrs. Sherrard writes, I don't know if the housing project on the site of the RBC building is for apartments or condos, but is there a known timeline when this project will be completed? The answer to this affects when Milner will be open to 2-way traffic, or will it continue to be 1-way west? Thank you. So the permit is valid into the month of May of this year, but it could be extended as requested, as needed. But the project is expected to be completed in 2026. And once the project is complete, Milner will return to a 2-way road as it was before.
Thank you. Next question from Maria Macaris, 53 Ballantyne North.
Okay, Maria says, good evening. We have noticed that the snow removal this winter has not been consistent. I am not only referring to the streets not being cleared. During a few snowfalls, the sidewalks were not cleared, no salt was poured, making them dangerous and slippery. Trying to get to the train and our bus stop or even walking the dogs was challenging. Many of us had to walk in the streets with oncoming traffic and drivers honking. Does the new administration have an action plan for snow removal, and what assurances can you give residents when it comes to clearing streets and sidewalks? Thank you. Thank you for your question, Maria. I've received numerous emails and inquiries about the snow clearing this winter, and though we are continuously trying to improve service to residents, we have had numerous challenges with our equipment, as well as our contractor experiencing difficulties with their equipment on certain occasions. The snowfall this year has also been frequent and in smaller quantities, which translates to the crews needing to make several passes in the same areas before the snow is fully cleared. I would also like to note that I've received many compliments from residents regarding snow removal and would like the team to know that their hard work is much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. The next one from Caroline Anaran, 337 Brock North.
Yes, sorry. I had two in a row. Could you please tell me why the snow removal service has deteriorated so much this season? Snow is now piled up on the roadside and across driveways for weeks, turning into ice that is impossible to remove by hand. We have never had this happen in 30-plus previous winters that I've experienced in Montreal-West. Has the new administration made some kind of cutback to the snow removal service for our town? Thanks, Carolyn. There have been numerous equipment breakdowns, like I've said, and we also only blow snow after a certain amount has fallen. With the smaller snowfalls this season, we sometimes wait for an accumulation to be more cost efficient. This is not a new policy by the administration, nor has there been any cutbacks, as seen by the equipment investment in the budget for this year. A lot of the snow that ends up piled up in the streets is exasperated by contractors that pull snow from driveways and push it into the streets. I'd just like to take this moment to remind citizens that contractors and citizens are responsible for the snow removed from their property and that removal needs to be compliant with town bylaws. Thank you.
Thank you. The next one from Lisa Asali, 24 Crestwood Avenue. Good evening. As I receive our phone directory through the holidays, I realized it had a lot of erroneous information in it. I would like to know if there is a cost to Mo West for this directory or if advertisers cover the cost. As well, having a way of reminding citizens to update their info before the next edition is published. Thank you for your question. While the town doesn't invest any money in this publication, businesses pay for the advertisement. If residents wish to update their information, they must contact the publisher directly. Thank you. Next one from Stan Carney, Wolseley Avenue North.
Mr. Carney asks, how does one go about getting the dollar amount spent on subcontracting for tree services, be it pruning or felling per year? Notice the town uses a private contractor for general work and then Hydro-Quebec for anything close to the electrical wires. A detailed breakdown would be appreciated unless you have a contract with the subcontractor. If it goes out to tender, i.e. bidding, or it is made public, where is this reported in the budget? Mr. Carney, last year, February 24th, 2025, we passed a resolution in the amount of $75,086.86. The tree contact went out for public tender, and it's with Arbo Design, and that actually can be found in our budget. We do have a line under operational expenses under trees. That's where you would find that information. Thank you for your question, Mr. Carney.
Thank you. Next question from Joanna Dewey, 232 Percival Avenue.
Mrs. Dewey asks, is there any plans for further improvements of the Ainsley-Westminster intersection to make it safer for the almost 500 or so kids aged 12 to 17 that cross there every day? One thing that is lacking at this intersection is a pedestrian crosswalk sign on the southwest side of the intersection to alert drivers coming south that this is a pedestrian crosswalk. This could be easily corrected. There's also a question 2. It's not related to me, but I'll answer question number 1, Mrs. Dewey. The missing crosswalk has already been addressed with the town, and the missing sign will be ordered and installed in the near future.
No, it's okay. Thanks. It's a tag team for this one. Thank you for your question, Joanna. The second question is, There was a $900,000 budgeted for evaluation of phases 1 and 2 and seems very high. Can council speak to why this amount was chosen? Thank you to all of council. As you are correct, Joanne, in terms of the budget that was allocated in the PTI, that's for evaluation studies along Westminster, which means that can include infrastructure, anything that needs to be repaired. And as you know, the length of Westminster is quite long. So that's why you see that, that budget of $900,000. In addition to that, because it's the PTI, and that's our strategic planning, that amount can always be adjusted. But that's what we speculate for the moment. It doesn't mean that we will spend it. But we're just making residents aware that there is a project that we're looking at in terms of, we know there's a lot of issues on Westminster, there are pipes that have burst and what have you, so this actually does take quite a bit of financial resources. And again, it's not just a study, this also would be all-inclusive. The mayor may have some supplemental information as well.
Yeah, thank you. Just to complete, this is a reserve fund for the production of various potential studies, the details of which are yet to be determined. These include studies of the street itself, its infrastructure, like Lauren said, land for development, heritage studies, building and engineering studies, street engineering studies, and so on. Some of these funds could also be used for urgent repairs following problems such as the water break that occurred during the holidays on Westminster. Okay, just a few more questions. The next one from Brian Benedetti, 22 Brock South.
Hi, Mr. Benedetti. Your question is, now that the arena is starting to open, could you update us on the status of the court case with Sajo concerning cost overruns? How much has been spent to date on legal fees related to this file? So this is not asking about the settlement, but it's talking about legal fees, so it's a little bit different than the previous question. Legal services for May 2023 to December 31st, 2025 was a total net of $105,000 and represents various legal mandates related to the construction of the recreation center. Thank you for your question.
Next one from Robert Barnes, 227 Bedbrook.
Mr. Barnes asks, if the ice must be removed for refrigeration repairs at the new recreation center, would you agree now is the time to correctly place the missing ringette and broom ball markings, consistent with the public promises to these sports at the time of initial promotion of the new rec center? Question 2, will diving boards and any other seasonal pool equipment suffer an entire winter outside, even before first use? Why? Very good questions. Since the ice is being removed and redone, we're definitely going to ask the recreation department if this can be done. And with regards to the equipment that was left outside on the for the pool, the equipment should have been removed for the winter season, but because the town took provisional acceptance with reservation of the building only in December 19th, the construction company should have but did not remove the equipment. And if any material or equipment is damaged, the town will request any replacement at no cost.
Thank you very much. And the last question from Judy Kennedy, 151 Strathern North.
Ms. Kennedy asked, what is the plan for emergency shelter for people in Montreal-West? Will there be a permanent protocol? That's a number 2. I only have to answer number 1. There's another tag team. Question number 1, the town does have a protocol for crisis situation. We also coordinate emergency planning with the CCMU, which is the Centre de Coordination des Mesures d'Urgence, which is part of the agglomeration. Every situation is dealt differently depending on the variables. If we need to have a shelter, we'll have a shelter. If we need to have a warming station, we'll have a warming station. If we need anything to refreshing, we'll have a refreshing. So we are flexible. We do things differently, and we obviously align ourselves with everybody else so that the coordination where it works.
And part 2 of the question is, are the garbage collection and the recycling collection company able to put the bins back where they found them? Right now, they place my bins either in the middle of my driveway or left on the sidewalk. During the time that is very icy, I was not able to get down to my driveway to retrieve it. I was concerned about the plow intersecting with the bin. After a post on Facebook, somebody came and moved my bin for me. I will think I would put my garbage out in a plastic bag so I don't have to at least get the garbage bin. Recycling is another issue. Can I use a plastic recyclable bag for my recycling? I understand we have a lot of citizens, some people who might have mobility issues, but unfortunately, no, the contractor is not able to put bins back up. Of course, as you can understand, that would impede the frequency of them being able to pick up the trash as well as the recycling. I think it's a great idea if you have a neighbor or somebody who might be able to assist you. If you have a mobility issue or if you're a senior, please ask them to assist you. This is great about our community. And I think Ms. Nichols had mentioned this earlier as well, is that we were a close-knit community. Get to know your neighbors. If somebody needs some help, I'm sure they can help you out there. And unfortunately, the garbage cannot be put in a plastic bag. It has to be put in a designated bin with a particular size that we've stipulated when we made the bylaw change previously. However, you can use plastic recycling bags outside of your recycling bin if that makes it easier for you. Thank you for your question, Mrs. Kennedy.
Okay, thank you very much. So this was the last question. So we'll move to point 9 of the agenda, contracts and town clerk's office. Advertising, space rental contract, recreation center.
Whereas it is standard practice in sports centers to monetize certain spaces by renting them for advertising purposes. Whereas the town deems it advisable to subcontract the task of finding sponsors and has invited 2 firms who submitted proposals to this end. Whereas the object of such a contract is the supply of media space for publicity and promotional purpose. Whereas this kind of business arrangement generates revenues instead of entailing an expenditure. Therefore, I move that 1, that the town of Montréal-Ouest accept the terms of a contract with the selected firm, Le Groupe Imagie Communication Incorporated, in return for 50% of the media revenues generated by the rental of advertising spaces. 2, that the Director General, Maître Raphaël Destasio, be authorized to sign this contract on behalf of the town.
I second it.
Tous en faveur, all in favor?
Oui.
B. Directive concernant l'usage d'une autre langue que le français.
Attendu que la Ville de Montréal-Ouest est un organisme municipal reconnu en vertu de l'article 29.1 de la Charte de la langue française RLRQ, chapitre C, trénion 11, à élaborer une directive pour remplacer celle du ministre datée de 24 mai 23. Attendu que l'objet de cette directive est de préciser des situations qui ne sont pas déjà prévues aux articles 23 à 26 de la Charte pour autoriser l'utilisation d'une autre langue que le français dans certains cas non couverts par la reconnaissance de l'article 29.1, tout en respectant le cadre législatif et réglementaire applicable. Attendu que la Ville doit se conformer aux exigences du ministère de la langue française, identifiant les exceptions prémises dans telle directive. Je propose que soit adoptée la dite directive particulière relative à l'usage d'une autre langue que langue officielle, conformément de l'article 29.1 de la Charte.
Je l'appuie.
Tous en faveur, all in favor?
Oui.
Oui, and it's okay, Mr. Rainford, just make a quick comment. Sure. This is an administrative change that allows us to continue when we talk about a second language, that's the use of English. So it's all protecting our bilingual status if we continue to use this. So this is just an administrative change of updates that were made if anybody was concerned. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for clarifying this. Okay, point 10, administration and finance. A, approval of disbursement, December 13th, 2025 to January 23rd, 2026.
I move that the list of accounts payable from December 13th, 2025 to January 23rd, 2026, totaling $2,918,425.81 and payroll in the amount of $439,839.61, the period 51 to 03, be approved and paid.
I second the motion.
Tous en faveur, all in favor?
Oui.
Yes.
Yes.
B, délégation de pouvoir pour le mois de janvier 2026.
Je propose que soit approuvé le rapport de la directrice générale concernant l'exercice des pouvoirs délégués en vertu du règlement numéro 2005-002 pour le mois de janvier 2026.
Je le seconde.
Tous en faveur, all in favor?
Oui.
Oui.
11, Urban Department. A, Site Planning Projects and Architectural Integration Program, SPAIP, January 21, 2026.
I move to acknowledge receipt of the minutes of a meeting held by the Planning Advisory Committee, PAC, on January 21st, 2026. To approve with conditions under the SPAIP the following plans submitted to this meeting in accordance with the recommendations of the PAC as outlined in the minutes. 223 Percival, replacement of 3 windows. 68 Banstead, replacement of a window by a patio door and removal of a door on the rear facade.
Okay, perfect. B, site planning projects and architectural integration programs, December 10, 2026.
I move to approve with conditions under the SPIP the following plans in accordance with the recommendations of PAC as outlined in the minutes and its meeting on December 10th, 2025. 128 Strather North, modifications of the new 2 front windows following the conversion of the garage into a habitable space.
I second.
Okay, tous en faveur, all in favor?
We
Yes.
C, minor exemption request, 40 Westland.
Sure. So this is a technical change that, of course, these are all advertised in the newspaper. You usually find this in the Suburban, and we do not have any comments that were received with regards to the notice being placed in the newspaper. So I move that the plans and requests submitted to December 10th, 2025 meeting of the Planning Advisory Committee to be approved in accordance with bylaws 2020-002 and G-18-0005 for the following minor exemptions for the schedule of uses and standards in effect under section 3.2.2 and paragraph 6 of section 4.1.10 of the zoning bylaw regarding the immovable located at 40 Westland in zone RA-10 to normalize the front setback of the main building, which is 3.20 meters instead of the minimum of 5.7 meters required in that zone, the consequence being to reduce this requirement by 1.37 meters. Normalize an encroachment on the front gallery, which is located at 3.20 meters from the property line, while the minimum front setback is at 4.57 meters in that zone. The consequence being reduced this requirement by 1.37 meters. Normalize the combined lateral setback of the main building, which is 3.44 meters instead of the minimum 4 meter required in that zone. The consequence being to reduce the requirement by 0.56 meters.
I second.
Tous en faveur, all in favor?
Oui.
Yep.
D, demande de dérogation mineure, 74 Wolseley Nord.
Je propose... Oh, sorry, Martha.
Je propose d'accepter les plans soumis à la réunion du comité consultatif d'urbanisme tenue le 26 novembre 2025, conformément aux dispositions des règlements 2020-002 et G-18-005 et les demandes suivantes de dérogation mineure à la grille de spécifications applicable sous l'article 3.2.2 et à l'article 4.1.6 du règlement de zonage en ce qui traite à l'immeuble situé au 74 Wolseley North dans la zone RB5, afin de régulariser la distance entre le garage détaché et le bâtiment principal qui est de 1,2 mètres au lieu de minimum requis de 2 mètres, ceci ayant pour effet de réduire cette norme de 0,8 mètres, afin de régulariser un empiètement de la galerie avant qui se trouve à une distance de 4,3 mètres de la ligne de propriété, alors que la marge de recul avant est au minimum de 4,57 mètres dans cette zone, ceci ayant pour effet de réduire cette norme de 0,27 mètres.
Je l'appuie.
Tous en faveur, all in favor?
Oui.
E, minor exemption request, 125 Percival.
I move that the plans and requests submitted to the November 26, 2025 meeting of the Planning Advisory Committee be approved in accordance with bylaws 2020-002 and G18-005 for the following minor exemption from the schedule of uses and standards in effect under section 3.2.2 of the zoning bylaw regarding the immovable located at 125 Percival in zone RB32. Normalize the combined lateral setback of the main building, which is 3.91 meters instead of the minimum 4 meters required in that zone, the consequence being to reduce this requirement by 0.09 meters.
I support the motion.
Tous en faveur, all in favor?
Oui.
Yes.
Thank you very much. We'll move to point 13, Human Resources. Hey, hiring recreation coordinator.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that Miss Isabella Poliziani be appointed to the permanent position of middle manager as recreation coordinator with a trial period starting January 6, 2026.
I second the motion.
Tous en faveur, all in favor?
Yes.
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 14, appointments. Councillor portfolios.
I move that Mayor Jonathan Shaw be entrusted with the responsibility of matters pertaining to governance and urban development. That Councillor Lauren Small-Pennefather be entrusted with the responsibility of matters pertaining to finance and bilingual status. That Councillor Martha Slocum be entrusted with the responsibility of matters pertaining to ecological transition, urban planning, and citizen participation. That Councillor Nick Tasse be entrusted with the responsibility of matters pertaining to asset management and economic development. That Councillor Philippe Bergeron be entrusted with the responsibility of matters pertaining to sustainable mobility and sports.
I second the motion.
Tous en faveur, all in favor?
Yes.
Oui. Yes.
Just a precision that all the details of the portfolio are on the Montréal-Ouest website and will also be published in the next Informer. B. Nomination d'un représentant au conseil d'administration de PME Montréal Centre-Ouest.
Merci, Monsieur le maire. Je propose, attendu que PME Montréal Centre-Ouest est un organisme de développement économique dont la mission est d'appuyer les entrepreneurs des arrondissements d'Ahuntsic, Cartierville et Saint-Laurent et des municipalités de Côte-Saint-Luc, Hampstead et Montréal-Ouest, attendu que des représentants du secteur municipal dans le territoire concerné doivent être désignés pour siéger au conseil d'administration de PME MTL Centre-Ouest. En conséquence, que le conseil de la Ville de Montréal-Ouest désigne M. Nick Tasse, conseiller municipal, à titre de représentant au conseil d'administration de PME MTL Centre-Ouest.
Je l'appuie.
Tous en faveur, all in favor?
Oui.
Aye.
Oui.
Thank you. C. Planning Advisory Committee, PAC.
I move that Councillor Martha Slocum, being responsible council member for urban planning, sit as a member by right of the Planning Advisory Committee.
Je l'appuie.
Tous en faveur, all in favor?
Aye.
Oui.
D. Politique municipale de la famille, responsable des questions familiales.
Je propose que la conseillère Martha Slocumby soit nommée représentante élue responsable pour toutes les questions liées à la politique pour les familles, responsable des questions familiales.
I second the motion.
Tous en faveur, all in favor?
Yes.
Oui.
Yes.
Thank you. Point 15, deposit of documents. Nothing under this item tonight. So we move to 16, notice of motion, reading and adoption of bylaws. A. Adoption of bylaw number 2026-002, bylaw authorizing a loan of $3,845,040 for the carrying out of repair work on road, sidewalks, aqueduct, sanitary, and storm sewer on Courtney Drive between the dead end of and Ballantyne Avenue South and on the right-of-way of Ballantyne Avenue South between Courtney Drive and Ronald Drive.
Whereas a copy of this bylaw in draft version was previously tabled at a council meeting when the notice of motion was given and made available in accordance with the law. Whereas the purpose and scope of this bylaw were summed up at the present meeting, including the fact that the expenditure it authorizes shall be borne by all the taxpayers of the municipality and that the loan shall be reimbursed within 20 years. Therefore, I move the bylaw number 2026-002 entitled Bylaw Authorizing a Loan of $3,845,040 for the carrying out of repair work on roads, sidewalks, aqueducts, sanitary and storm sewer on Courtney Drive between the dead end and Ballantyne Avenue South and on the right-of-way of Ballantyne Avenue South between Courtney Drive and Ronald Drive be adopted.
I second the motion.
Tous en faveur, all in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
OK. B. Adoption du règlement numéro 2026-003, règlement amendant le règlement de gestion contractuelle numéro 2019-004.
Attendu qu'une copie du projet de règlement a été déposée lors d'une séance précédente, lorsque l'avis de mention était donné et mise à disposition du public en conformément de la loi, attendu que lors de la présente séance, l'objet de portée du règlement a été résumé. Je propose que le règlement numéro 2026-003, intitulé Règlement amendant le règlement de gestion contractuelle numéro 2019-004, soit adopté.
Je le seconde.
Tous en faveur, en favor?
Oui.
Oui.
C, adoption of bylaw number 2026-004, bylaw amending bylaw 2019-003, establishing the remuneration of town council members.
Whereas a copy of this bylaw and draft version was previously tabled at a council meeting when the notice of motion was given and made available in accordance with the law. Whereas the purpose and scope of this bylaw were summed up at the present meeting. I move that bylaw number 2026-004, entitled Bylaw Amending Bylaw number 2019-003, establishing the remuneration of town council members, be adopted.
I second the motion.
Tous en faveur, en favor?
Aye.
Nous en sommes maintenant rendus au point 17, deuxième période de questions du public, second public question period. La période de
Line
questions
Rose.
débute donc à 21h31. Yes, please.
I can't help notice that we have flags behind council for the first time.
Four.
But they're in the wrong order. So they're really in the wrong order. So it's quite disrespectful to Canada. It should be on the left. Then province, then town.
We'll validate this information. Okay. Do we have any other questions from the room? Yes.
Hi, it's Harold Knowles, 256 Percival. So just looking at this, almost $4 million for that work on Courtney. Was that expected? That's like $2,000 per household.
Can you just repeat the question, please?
Reading here, it's going to be $4 million worth of work on Courtney. 3.8 million. Did I read this right?
3.4, I think.
We're taking the loan out for? Yeah.
Answer.
Yeah, it's been in the works for a while.
It's in the PTI, and yes, we had to pass a loan bylaw because we had to take a loan out for the work that was going to be done.
Okay. So it's a lot. It's $4 million. That's like for one block worth of work. So it was put out to tender and a number of bids the usual way. Is that what happened?
It hasn't gone out yet.
Okay,
The
this
bid
is
has
just to
not. This
set
is
aside
in the
loan money
PTI.
for it?
Correct.
Yeah.
It's in the PTI, so it's in the capital plan, which means that it's work that's going to be prévu, so that we'll be able to put out. That's why we had to do the bylaw this evening to pass it, so that we'd be able
Right.
to put out the call to tender.
Right. Do we expect there's going to be many more projects like that? I mean, like that's the
everything would have
10% the cost of a rec center, just
So
for one road.
everything would have been in the PTI from 26, 27, 28.
Right.
So all prévu there. And yes, I mean, we're focusing the budget. We are doing an infrastructure budget. So there are a number of projects, of course, that need to be done. We have aging infrastructure. So, I mean, it's our opportunity now as we're moving away from the construction of the rec center to address a lot of the areas that we need to have improvements in terms of the infrastructure.
Right. No, it's great. I'm glad that the town is, improving its infrastructure, but if we get one of these per year, the debt's going to go pretty darn high.
So that's in the budget that I announced for
Right, I didn't look at the
2026 this
budget,
year.
yes,
Yeah, so
yeah.
2026, you're going to notice there's about $2 million extra that we added to the budget from 2025.
Right.
So this is all included in the projections for those costs. there's
Right.
any, for 2026, that is the budget. So it's balanced in terms of the expenses and in terms of the revenues. So we have budgeted that into budget 2026.
Right, okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Est-ce qu'on a des questions en ligne? Non? Oh, yes. One. Yes.
It's not really a question pertaining to the meeting, but probably for Nick. Public Works, can I ask a question about Public Works?
Yes.
On 5961 Duplex, where I live, before Christmas, there was a flood in the basement. Our landlord got a company to come and flush out our system, and it's supposed to be they found out when we put the cameras in that it was the city, and Lee from your department came, but there's supposed to be some follow-up. I don't really know can you give us some updates on that? He was on site with the company, and they determined it was on the city pipes and not our pipes.
Yeah, I'm really not up to date on that specific file. I'll have to get some more information and get back to you on it. I don't have it at hand, and I haven't got any updates on it yet, unfortunately.
Because there's supposed to be a crack in your pipes, and we still get water coming through and stuff like that.
Yes, but I don't have that
And we
information.
talked to Lee, he's the one that came.
Okay,
I don't know
I'll
his
try and
last
follow
name.
up with Lee and get some information back to you when I find out. What was the address you said?
5961.
5961
Well, 59 and 61.
Northview.
Northview.
Yeah.
It's one duplex, so it's two addresses.
Okay, any more questions from the room? No? We don't have any questions online. Donc, on passera au point 18, levée de la séance. Yep.
Mes excuses, Monsieur le maire. Je propose de lever la séance.
Je l'appuie.
Tous en faveur?
Oui.
Favor?
Oui.